During VOD review of the Los Angeles Gladiators against San Francisco Shock, there was one interesting, I guess we can call it tech, even though I don't really know what's happening yet. And I've tried to verify this with Overwatch League coaches, as well as Overwatch League players. Granted, not Ryan mains, but none of them were able to give me a straight answer of what's actually happening here. There was a fair bit of confusion since when this has been happening, or if indeed it is something that is exclusive to LAN clients or whatever. I felt like I had this in solo queue games before, but basically to explain what we're seeing is that there is an insane amount of displacement with the normal left clicks of Reinhardt. So the displacement power is as much as Concussion Blast, if not more. So the Pharah E, right? And that's obviously nuts because it's always available once in range. And depending on what actually is required to apply that crazy amount of displacement, this could be a real force in this meta where, you know, Ryan versus Ryan battles and Ryan versus Zarya Ryan versus, you know, all these frontlines fights are happening. This could be one valuable tool in the kit of every great Ryan player. And once again, who has mastered it first? It is Chief Batcher Fissure, once again. This guy is once again on the ball on this, right? So, we will look at Shock versus Gladiators, and Gladiators is running up to point A on Blizzard World, and what we're about to see is Fissure will post up on this angle behind this rock, and he will meet Super and Sinatra there, and the camera will in a second switch to Shore here, and now I want you to pay attention to Shore's ability here, to his E. Because on the first viewing, I thought that what I was seeing, the displacement here, was probably from Pharah, and that it was just a spectator bug that this thing went on cooldown. So let's look at it, how it runs, and look at the crazy amount of displacement here, right? Fissure swung into that direction, and both Sinatra and Super get forced out. And look at the distance that, you know, Super was here before, and he gets displaced to here. So, first thought, or intuitive, if you have an intuitive feel for Overwatch, this feels like, yeah, that's Pharah, right? I'll show you that this wasn't Pharah, actually. Because, look at this. Here comes the displacement of Pharah. Now, this is sick, right? Let's once again go back to that position where Fissure posts up on them, and what this does to the defense positioning, what kind of scenario it forces them in. Because we will see in a second that Moth, the Mercy, is posted here, right? So he has an easy exit path here, possibly even here, and he's not too out in the open, right? If something was to happen, especially now seeing the Pharah, he could just retreat behind this and he would be fairly safe, right? This is almost max range on the healing. So if something was to be displaced somewhere in this area, Moth would have naturally would have to move into this position, and now he's in the middle of the point, right? So that's problematic. You don't want to be there. Even though, you know, you can post up here and use a little bit of that roof, whatever, right? That's not where you want to be. So they can take from the HP pool and the cooldowns, you know, the Zarya bubbles and whatever. One displacement would have been fine. But it's two displacements because of Pharah as well. And I argue that this actually wins them the fight, because this is huge momentum. Now they are on the back foot, and in a second, Bishu and Fissure will execute a sweet Rhine charge combo, which will kill Super and seal this fight. Right? Now, you say, well, that looked a little strange, but well, I mean, if it happens once, right? The clip I'm about to show you is absolutely insane. If you're someone that hasn't at all seen this happen before, and granted, we haven't been in a Rhine meta in a while, and maybe this has been in the game for a while. Maybe this is only land clan, yada yada yada. If you know, let me know in the comments. But we'll jump to 6 minutes. And at 6 minutes, my bad, I want you to pay attention to what happens to Super here. So Super comes up on the payload, and in a second, and I guess I should slow down to half speed, he will once again be displaced. Keep in mind, Chauffeur is now no longer on Farah. It can't come from him. It could come from Bishu. I will prove to you that the displacement we're about to see is not from Bishu. One, look at the timing on the swing. It's just that should convince you. The second thing is, look at what happens in the follow-up. Here, Bishu stuns Sinatra and pushes him out of the way, right? So that displacement likely was not, so the first one on Super was likely not from Bishu himself, but from Fissure. Now, keep in mind, this entire comp has exactly one normal displacement, which is the Bridget shift ability, right? We are about to see 4 displacements of huge acceleration in a row. So this was 1 and 2, right? So Super was pushed out of the way, Sinatra was pushed out of the way. Keep an eye on Sinatra. Look at it. Hits him into the door frame. What is going on? He birdies him. He hole-in-ones him. He home runs him into that door frame, and we will see in a second that it's not even, he's not even just in the door frame. He's deep in that thing. So this fight keeps rolling. Still no Sinatra, still no Sinatra, still no Sinatra. He's shooting a little bit out of there. He's trying to come up. No, he's dancing a little bit in this, right? But this has been a huge displacement. And here, if we go back just a little tad, Super actually does it to Fissure too. So you will hit him here, and he will get smashed back a huge chunk. Right? And you could argue that if there's some way where this triggers, you could use that to your advantage, right? So if you want to disengage because you're half HP and you can take one hit in a Rhine battle, why not disengage this way, right? Now, another interesting thing is that what I've seen Fissure do is he will preemptively swing from the right, because the swing starts on the right and goes to the left side. And if you keep holding left click, it comes back from the left side and goes through the right side. And the motion, so where the hammer comes from, is where your target will also fly to, right? And now with this displacement, it's obviously very huge, right? So this is nuts to me, right? I think I've neglected to even talk about how he does it to Nevix here too. Let me see. Just wait, where was it? It's somewhere. Let's look at this just for dramatic effect again, because this blew my mind. Slam. Let's actually go to full speed so we can appreciate this. Knocks Sinatra out. Knocks Nevix away. It's bouncy castle stuff, right? So we will also see, and this is the last clip I want to show you, that Super seems to also know what's up with that. So what we're about to see is on Lijiang Tower, and this is it's market, I believe, night market. Fissure will post up next to the statue, and this is important, on the right side, because keep in mind, and maybe you have to you know, take your hands out and do the swimming Reinhardt motions, think yourself in the position of Super. If he swings from right to left, he would knock Fissure into the statue, right? This here is Fissure, here's the statue. Actually, I can let this run a little bit so you have an idea. So Fissure on purpose goes to this statue in order to post up here on this little wall in hopes that he's not going to be displaced too much. Well, Fissure, you're in for a nightmare, because what happens here is, look at what is going on. And to make matters worse, just look at, so now he is basically Batman here, and look at what Super does to him in the air. What? So, this fight is immediately over, by the way, if Fissure, on the second swing, so while he's being hit in the air, if he gets knocked into the door frame here, this fight is gone. He's now almost on point, right? Or halfway through. And they can just isolate him. His team is in no position to heal him. This is over. If you can do this reliably, my lord, will you win Rhine battles against opponent teams. And the Reinhardt that masters this will have a huge advantage in my... I don't know if I'm overselling this, but this... And it also depends on the applicability of that, depending on what actually needs to happen in order to trigger that tech. But come on, this is huge, right? And Fissure gets out here, but yeah, I don't know. This is silly. I don't know since when this has been happening. And once again, if you're Reinhardt main, if this has been happening to you in solo queue games, I'd like to know. If you're a pro Reinhardt, let me know since when this is a thing. Or if you're an Overwatch League Reinhardt and you want to dabble in this information, tell me if you think that how big of a thing this is, and if this is maybe just a thing on the LAN client. So, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope I wasn't overselling the importance, because I think this is actually huge. And thanks for watching. See you next time.